Hello everyone, I'm Alfian and today we are going to solve the Leetcode challenge on the challenge number 27 called the remove element. And for this particular challenge, given an integer array of nums and an integer of val, remove all occurrences of val in nums in place. So we have to modify it in place, the nums array, and the order of the elements might be changed. Then return the number of elements in nums which are not equal to val. Consider the number of elements in nums which are not equal to val be k. To get accepted, we need to do the following things. Change the array of nums array such that the first k elements of nums contain the elements which are not equal to val. The remaining elements of nums are not important, as well as the size of nums. And then we return the length of the array, that is not including the elements that has the same value as the val. And there is a custom judge, and since we are using the TypeScript, it should be returning a k number, or the length of the nums array length. And without further ado, let's solve this. And it says hint 1, the problem statement clearly asks us to modify the array in place, and also says that the element beyond the new length of the array can be anything. Given an element, we need to remove all the occurrences of it from the array. We don't technically need to remove that element per se, right? Yeah, so in short, we don't have to get rid of the elements that is the same value as the val parameter right here. So we only need to set aside the set element, just like the val, to the right side of the array, just like the visualization from the custom judge right here. So anything beyond anything that is not the val will be placed on the right side of the array, and it's represented by the underscore or any element. And so for the hint number 2, we can move all the occurrences of this element to the end of the array, and we can use the 2 pointers. So we get the idea that we should use the 2 pointers in order to solve this. And yet another direction of thought is to consider the element to be removed as non-existent in a single pass. If we keep copying the visible element in place, that should also solve this problem for us. Okay, so let's declare, since we are using TypeScript, let's declare a let value or let variable called the left, because we are working using the 2 pointer strategy. Then we should declare as 0. And then for the right one, let right, we can just declare using the nums, determining the length, and then -1 to get the last index of the nums array. And we can add an edge case to check if the length of the array is 0 or just empty array. Then we should return 0. And we can add another check if the nums.length, since we are working on 2 pointers, then we need at least 2 elements inside the array. And what if we have only 1 element inside the nums array? Then we can return either if the element, that sole element inside the array, which is nums of index 0, using the ternary operator, if it's the same as the value in ternary operator. If it is, then we can return 0. If it's not, then we can simply return 1. And let's do our single pass using the for loop, not for loop but while loop, since we are working on using 2 pointers. Then to check as long as the left is still below the right. If it is, then let me visualize this by using the Excel drawing. And we have to, I already draw it, and I think you have the better idea from this visualization. And we have to store all of the element that is considered the value parameter. Let's say, for example, if we have the value of 2, then we need to set aside any of the 2 elements to the right side of the array, or the end of the array. And then since we already declared the left and right pointers, the first one, which is 0, or the first element, and the right one is the last element. And then we can add a first check to check if using the while loop to check while left is as long as the left is still below the right, which means that the left is not above the right index right here, right pointer, then we can still do our while loop. If it's the same or above the right pointer, then we can stop the while loop. So it starts from the first index or the 0 element right here, and as long as the left is below the right, then check if the right has the value already the element of the fall. Since the fall is 2, then we need to avoid this 2 since it's already on the right side on the the last element of the last index of the array. Then we don't have to swap it. We need to avoid it to swap with the 0 like this. Then we need to skip the right part to check if the right pointer it's pointing to the element that has the value of 2. And then after that we can move to the next iteration. We point the right using the right minus minus to decrement it by 1 to check another index. And then we can also add a check if the left pointer is not the value. It's not the value that we already defined as the parameter right here. If it's not the value, then we have to move and let the element that is not 2 and let it as is to that place. And then we move to the next iteration using the left plus plus to point to the next index of the while loop. And we can add a check if the left pointer is equals to the value and the right pointer is not equals to the value. If it is, then we have to swap the place between 2 and 4, between the index of the left pointer to the index of right pointer. To do that, we can just move it like this. Let's unlink the left pointer and let's unlink the right pointer and move the 2 with 4. Swap it in place. And then there we have it. And after we swap the place, then we have to increment the left pointer to the next index and the right pointer to the previous index using the left plus plus and right minus minus sequentially. And for the next one, checking it again, while loop, to check if the left pointer is pointing to the value and the right pointer is not pointing to the value of 2. Since it satisfies the if else, then we have to swap this in place. And then I will show you how do we swap the array elements in place, since we are using TypeScript and it should be easy to do it. And then we moving the left pointer to right here and right pointer to right here, and the left while loop will stops because the left already the same or higher than the right statement check right here. So we return the nums array without the rest of the value right here. So we only somehow by slicing the array using this one, using this sign, slicing to just like this, and we return the length of the new nums array. And let's go back to our implementation. We can add a check if you haven't forget it already, if the nums of the right pointer is the value is the same as the value parameter right here. If it is, then we can move the right pointer, decrementing it by 1. And then we skip the rest of the if statements below by using the continue, and we can continue to the next iteration of while loop. This continue statement is very helpful to skip the rest of the if else after this after this if check already been satisfied. And then we can add another if check if the nums of the left is not equal to the false. As you can see, it is opposite from the right pointer checking. If it is, then we can move the left pointer, incrementing it by 1. And you guess it, using the continue again. Continue and skipping the rest of the current while loop iteration to the new while loop iteration starting from this again to check if the right pointer is equals to 4, or to check if the left pointer is not equals to false. And finally we can add a check if both elements are satisfied by using the if nums left equals to false. Oh, we don't have to, so we can just declare it by skipping the if check, since we already cover the eventualities above using the if check here. And then we can simply swap the place nums using the array destructurization, and we have to declare the square brackets right here and then equals square brackets right here. And then inside the left hand of the square brackets, then we can declare nums left and comma nums right, and then equals on the right hand array. Then we swap the index from the left pointer to the index of the right pointer using the nums right and then comma nums left. That way we are swapping both elements like this one, since we previously worked on the 2 and 0, it was like this, and then we are moving the 2 to the right pointer and 0 to the left pointer using the special array destructurization method and swapping it in place. And after that we have to increment our left pointer by 1 and decrementing the right pointer by 1. And then after that we can simply return, since the rest of the value is placed on the right side of the array like this. Then we have to eliminate the rest of the array, all of the 2's right here, by using the special function called the filter. Then we can simply return nums filter, and we are iterating once more, iterating the num using the num parameter called the num of the arrow function, and then to check if num is not the value, and then we return the shallow copy of the array without the elements that has the value of false right here. So we eliminate using the filter, we eliminating all of the value that is consists of 2, which is the same as the false, and we are only returning the elements that are not the same as the value, which is 0, 1, 4, 0 and 3. And then after we returning using the filter, then we can simply pass in the length property, and then we can run this code to see if it works. And let's submit this using the control enter. And so that's about it. I hope you understand my explanation. If you still don't understand, you can ask me in the comment section, or if you have any better solutions regarding this implementation, you can also tell us what you think in the comment section. I hope you have a great day, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.